Science shows us that where you put your energy and attention influences not only your perception, but the movement of energy on a quantum level. This is, in essence, the big dilemma of quantum physics. To a certain degree, there are no absolutes in life, and all of reality is malleable. We can literally influence the direction of the creative particles of life by simply focusing on what we want. If this is true, then why do we use this creative power of ours to focus on problems instead of solutions? Why do we spend decades looking for where we are stuck, broken, and blocked? Many scientists are locked in the question of how to measure a highly malleable and relative world. Today's guest, author, applied scientist, and researcher Silvia Hartmann, is more concerned with how to use this creative flow of life to help people create healthier, more abundant, and loving lives. Through decades of research and applied study, Silvia discovered that a lack of energy directly causes a measurable stress escalation which affects performance across mind, body, and spirit, and that in order to de-stress and improve performance across the board, more energy needs to be added to any given system. The way to add more energy is not by focusing on the perceived brokenness and retelling the story of stressful events, but to simply shift focus, to focus on positive memories and events in life, creating what she calls star events. This process of helping people shift focus proved extremely effective in helping people achieve higher energy states and drastically improving their self-worth, moving them from the scar matrix, telling stories entirely consistent of trauma, to the star matrix, telling stories entirely consistent of these star events. I hope you enjoy today's powerful conversation.
You're listening to Quantum Revolution with Karen Curry Parker, exploring new frontiers in consciousness, science, and evolution. Join us in intimate conversations with cutting-edge scientists, spiritual leaders, artists, disruptors, and visionaries who are working towards reframing the narrative of our future by healing the rift between spirituality and science, reclaiming creativity, and laying the foundation for a new world. And now, here's your host, Karen Curry Parker.
Hi, everyone, and welcome to Quantum Revolution. I am so excited to be talking today with one of my personal heroines, if you will, in the arc of the healing story of the world. We're going to be talking today to Silvia Hartmann, and we're going to be exploring a couple of, I think, really, dare I say, heretical ideas. And it's funny to me. It's funny to me that some of these ideas are so heretical because they're really kind of simple and really sweet. Let's call it sweet. So I want to start before we dive into some of the really messy stuff. I want to start first with introducing people to what I think is your legacy work. And I want to talk for just a minute about what you call star matrix.
Yay.
And one of the things, and the reason I've been thinking about it is I've been seeing very recently, a little bit of a trend on social media. And I try to stay off social media as much as I can, but I like to watch to see like where are people thinking and what's coming up. And recently I've seen a trend about an idea called Glimmers, where people have started to talk about what if instead of focusing on triggers and being afraid of triggers, we start exploring where do we have positive memories, stories about things that worked out in our lives? How do we strengthen that? Talk to me a little bit about your definition of what might be called a glimmer and the star matrix.
So I was, some years ago, I did some research on airplane crash survivors. And this thing that people say that they see their life flashing before their eyes when they think they're going to die. Not everybody does, but a lot of people do, and they remark upon it, that this great calm overcomes them, and then this like a movie stream starts up,
Mm.
that plays through their life with flashes of scenes from their life. And when they don't die, which is often the case, they also say that this experience totally changes their lives. It makes them understand how important their family is, the meaning of love. They they have a completely different attitude to life afterwards. And they also said that they would not give up that experience for the world. And that was told to me by a gentleman in a wheelchair. So that was really remarkable. And so in 2019, I decided to go for it and do a research project. What would happen if we accessed the best memories of our lives for a change? And the star memories. I call them the star memories, the ones that will flash, the most important memories of our lives. And as I personally believe, I believe that this flashing is the upload of our memories into our soul. I really believe that's what that is.
Hmm.
And if that happens and you didn't die, you are left with a kind of a soul connection that changes your life. And you could call that, if you wanted to, an enlightenment experience. And I was very curious about that. And I started this research project. In November of 2019, the one where we were going to get together and just look at the star memories
Hmm.
together, see what would happen if we did. And the timing of this was amazing because we started in November and we finished just before the the world went to hell in a
Hmm.
handbasket. Finished just before that. And it was just absolutely fascinating and amazing. And it left us all with thinking, why have we wasted so much time on our traumas when all along the most important messages, the most important things to know about ourselves was locked up in these star memories? The best moments of our life, the most important moments of our lives,
Hmm.
the moments when we evolved, when we learned something, when we understood something, where we were more than we normally are. You know, this was absolutely amazing. We discovered all sorts of amazing things, like we have real superpowers, the star powers.
And so what happened with this first cohort of people that you took through this process? What happened to them over time after the workshop? Did the memories stick?
Yes, that's one of the things with my work is that I this was a five-year research project. They were during the course of this, they were absolutely delighted. I was absolutely we were absolutely delighted. And we kept being amazed by look, when you're remembering a star memory, a high positive memory, it is so different from trying to remember a trauma
Mm.
because the colors are bright and the scent is there, the feeling is there, the sensations are there. And as you're remembering this, your energy body reacts with energy rising, and people start to smile and glow. And as they're remembering this star event, it just makes you so happy. But there were, of course, all manner of side effects. One of them was better memory,
Mm. Interesting.
better, clearer memory. I had an interesting. I have a really, really good memory. But during the Star Matrix course, my partner says to me, "We've just been in the shops, and I don't know. I haven't got the milk. I forgot the milk." Flash in front of my eyes. There he sees standing in front of the cupboard with the milk. And there's a person that he recognizes, and he waves to them, and they chat for a little while, and he walks by the cupboard with the milk. And I'm like, "Oh, I know why you forgot the milk." Like this absolute clarity of memory
Mm.
blew me away, absolutely blew me away. But there are so many wonderful things about that. It's like once you start with the star memories, they
Mhm.
come up to help you out in places. If you're, teaching or talking or you're meeting somebody, you're seeing somebody, and this is it's amazing. what you can do. A lovely example was one of my participants went to have her nails done in a nail salon, and she said to the beautician, "Tell me something nice that has happened to you recently." Didn't ask directly for a star event, just something nice that happened recently. And the lady said, "Oh, that's amazing. Nobody ever asked me that ever. Everybody just comes in here and starts whining about their lives and everything else." So she started talking about a trip she was planning to go on holiday, and just that switch from the old trauma talk, the old stress talk, the whining, into asking that hairdresser lady there, that beautician lady, for something positive. But what I loved about that was that the beautician lady then said, "Do you know what? I'm going to do that with my clients about something good that has happened to them recently. That's going to make my day so much shorter and my work so much
Mm.
lighter."
Mm-hmm.
And I thought,
Interesting.
it's like a virus that spreads when you're doing this. And I thought, this is so good. Brilliant. It's what it does, I think, what it does, technically speaking, I think we have trauma train tracks in the brain from all the trauma.
You said train tracks, so
Train
the
tracks.
trauma just keeps traveling on that same track?
Our brains just have train tracks into the trauma. Like, we're so used to thinking, like, I'm afraid, oh, that must be because I was traumatized as a child. Where's the trauma? And that's sort of, we're getting on the train to Trauma Town. And we've been doing that so much that we're reflexively, constantly looking for trauma, going into trauma, looking at other people and thinking, oh, wonder if he was traumatized, or what his trauma is, or is this person like that because they have a trauma? It's with there's train tracks in the brain to Trauma Town. It's the best way I can describe it.
Hmm.
And you don't notice it until you've done this star memory thing for a little while. And so very important part of Star Matrix is for people to start their own book of stars. It's a lovely notebook, and
Mhm.
this is not a gratitude journal. This is not a positive journal. It's a book of stars,
Mm.
your book of stars. And you open it up, you write in your name, the name you call yourself. This book of stars belongs to. Then you turn page and write entry number 1. The first happy memory that you remember that needs to go into your book of stars. Could be with another person, could be a beautiful moment in nature. Definitely doesn't have to be from childhood when you first start. Can be from last week. It can be any time in your life. Just the first real sort of memory that you would expect is among those that will flash by your eyes when your plane ditches towards the ocean.
Hmm.
You write it into your book of stars. Write it down. Just put a rough idea what time that might have been, how old you were, what year that might have been. Little description. So in my book of stars, the first memory is when I was about 4 years old and I'd sort of run away from home. And I was standing on a hilltop and looking over a valley with a little river at the bottom. And all the houses were on the other side, and they were just tiny. They were tiny, and they would actually fit in my hand, and I thought I could move them around. And it was wonderful. It was a wonderful memory. That's my number 1 star memory in my own book of stars. But the cool thing about that is that when somebody's out there, let's say they are given to depression or self-doubt or misery,
Mhm.
they have evidence. They can take out their book of stars and they can look at it and say, "Oh yeah, yeah, I remember that." And it flashes up in their minds and in their energy system. It lights up their energy system. They can hold it to their heart of energy in the heart
Mhm.
position, breathe deeply. And this book of stars does a number of things. Number 1, it literally rewires your brain to stop thinking of yourself as this sack of trauma. That's number 1. That's super important.
Mhm. Mhm.
It changes your self-concept. Number 2, it's kind of it It's justice. It's justice. It's like we've had court cases against ourselves where we were the accused, and only the district attorneys got to talk. No defendant ever got to speak. No, there was no inventory of our actual abilities, our actual what we can actually do has ever been properly taken. And the Book of Stars corrects that. And to me, that's very important. There's so much injustice in this trauma-only cult where we're only looking at the trauma and not ever anything else. So the Book of Stars is, if you're doing like star therapy with another person, this Book of Stars connects the sessions. It reconnects that person's life as the memories come from different times, and really does give them something to work with and to understand that they will have more star events as their life progresses.
Does it also reprogram people to start paying attention to the events in their lives differently? That when they start looking instead as they move forward for stars rather than for more traumas?
Yeah, exactly. Right.
Mhm.
Yeah. That's one of those things, I swear to God, with all that attention on trauma, we've kind of programmed ourselves to be, I don't know if we have souls or higher selves and powers of those natures, or there are angels listening. But the way we are going on, they must be thinking we want more trauma
Mm.
because that's all the conversations we're having.
That's an interesting creative thought right there, a
You
kind of a
know,
terrifying creative thought.
it is. And
Mhm.
but the fact is, the star memory thing is not just about the past. It's about taking an inventory of what we already have,
Mhm.
which we are not consciously aware of. The amount of times I hear people say, "Oh, I haven't thought of that in 30 years."
Mm. Mhm.
And now I'm like, how could you not have? There's this lady. Um, she she had a star event, a strange star event. She was at a barbecue, and there was a man there who had a backache, really bad backache. And she says, "I don't know what happened. I don't know what happened. I wasn't into new agey stuff or anything like that. But when he said that, I felt sparkles in my hands, like
Mm.
stars in my hands. And I just couldn't help myself. It was like magnetic. And I touched his back. And he went, "Oh my God, the pain is gone."
Wow.
And I'm like, wow, that's amazing. It turns out that this lady spent 15 years every weekend going to a healing course, some kind of healing,
Mhm.
pranic healing, energy healing, whatever, travel to India for healing, but never actually went back to that star event and said, "Okay, let's go back there. Describe the garden, describe what you could send. There's the barbecue over there. It was in the spring. There was scent of flowers from that bush over there.
Mm.
And the music that was playing. Oh, I remember what music was playing. And I'm standing on the grass and the guy's just over there and he's just looks so unhappy and he's crumpled up and holding his back. And there's this weird thing that's coming up inside of me and my fingers are starting to tingle and they're like drawing me over to him. Oh my God. See, that was the invitation to learn how she does the healing. 15 years she went to healing courses when all along the keys were in that memory,
Mm. Mm.
the energy states. So when you get to talk about this, then she has then ideas and things and says, "Oh, that connects to this and this connects to that." And yeah, and I can actually feel my fingers tingling when I'm talking to you about it. I can learn how to raise that tingly energy if I ever wanted to heal something again. So to me, our star memories are true treasures and riches of our lives. They contain the most wisdom, most intelligence, the best energy. And when we retell them, we raise energy so fast. You don't have to tap, you don't have to meditate, you don't have to stand on one leg and pretend to be a crane. And once you have set this process into motion, and you got 20, 30, 40 star memories in your book of stars, it's really remarkable how how many more we get to have then, because we start to understand how they work and where we can find them. We learn about ourselves. We find out where we have the most star events. We find, oh, this is so important. We find a connection across time. I remember one lady in particular, she was about 75, and she had been in various relationships and situations over her long life. And she was just amazed to find these star events that were relating to animals at age 3, age 9, age 25, age 30. And regardless of whether she was at that time married or divorced or in an abusive relationship or in a different job or in the country, out of the country, so she said it was like this golden line that connected my entire life. And she was just so happy about that. And so, yeah, that's another thing. There's so many. I think every person in the world needs to do their own book of stars.
Yeah.
And if I may, beg your listeners, our listeners here personally, please start a book of stars. Please start your own book of stars. If you've got an old relative or somebody who's been diagnosed with Alzheimer's or a teenager that doesn't know where their head's at the moment, ask them to start their own book of stars. It's just a beautiful notebook, and note down some positive memories. That's all you need to do. Get that process into motion and end up with something that is literally a powerful energy remedy against negative emotions, against stress, against hopelessness. Yeah, try it out for yourself, please.
So I want to tackle a topic that we've talked about a little bit before we started recording, because I'm listening to you and my, I'll say in my body, in my gut, I feel everything that you're saying. And I just want to share, and this is a weird side note, but I think it's appropriate. So one of the things that I have done in my life in the many iterations of my own story is I worked as a psychic medium.
Oh,
And one of the things that I had a strange group of I would always do readings for either people who had lost children or people who had fathers and mothers who had Alzheimer's
interesting.
or any kind of dementia. And it was always interesting to me that when I would connect with the person who had passed from dementia, first of all, they'd always spoke really fast because they knew they had a short time and a lot that they didn't get to say at the end of their lives. But one of the things that they consistently said is that they unconsciously developed dementia because they wanted to forget, because they had regrets. And I'm thinking as you're talking, I'm thinking about how different would the story be if rather than focusing on the regrets, which I think many of us do, right? That we would instead look at where are the stars? And would that change the way, our willingness to remember versus to eventually go to the ultimate forgetting?
Obviously, I can't make any medical claims because these things like dementia and Alzheimer's are actually diagnosed as medical conditions. However, there have been interesting studies into nostalgia by Southampton University.
Mm,
So if any of our listeners here are interested in that, just to put a Southampton University UK and nostalgia research into a
mm.
Google engine. It's very interesting that. And they absolutely have documented evidence of improvement in memory in Alzheimer's and dementia patients who are focusing on positive memories.
How fun. The second thing is, and I'm not my intention here is not to play devil's advocate, but I'll also say
Oh, please do.
I'm also a mother and I have 8 children. And my youngest is 15 and then there's a big gap and my older kids are 25 to 35 and they are the biggest skeptics in the world. And they are I shouldn't say this, but I'm going to say they are in love with trauma. And I've spent a lot of hours sort of thinking, how can we rewrite the story? Because the way you're telling the story feels really different than how I remember the story. Not trying to deny people's feelings, but
Mhm.
there's a lot of conversation about trauma and doom and the end of the world. And anytime I try to introduce something positive, I am, excuse me, consistently accused of bypassing.
Ah,
And I just want to talk about this because I really, I'm always, I don't like to talk about my children in front of the world, but I'm also really concerned because I feel like they're programming their brains to keep looking for the apocalypse when in fact this is I just interviewed I did an interview a couple weeks ago where they were talking about how much, if we look at the numbers, we're actually thriving compared to where we, in the biggest way possible compared to where we've ever been. So talk to me about bypassing, and is star therapy and writing your book of stars, is that bypassing the trauma?
no, no. I would call it, first of all, justice.
Mhm.
If you can accept that in any court of law, it's not enough to present just one side of the argument all the time. If you can mentally accept that, then you must accept that we can't just present the evidence from trauma all the time without also presenting the evidence from star memories, just to at least get some better, fairer assessment, more just assessment of a situation or of a person or of yourself, especially and above all else. Now, spiritual bypassing is just hilarious. That's I got very angry with the modern dealings with people and with psychology in particular. And I wrote a book called How I Escaped the Trauma Cult.
Mhm.
And subtitle is, And You Can Too if you want to. And in that, I'm saying that one of the biggest problems with psychology and culture in general is this idea that you have to descend to ascend. You have to go down in order to go up.
Shadow
Now,
work.
yeah, you have to go down in order to go up. Now, I'm going to put it to everyone out there that if you are on the ground floor and there is some really nice Aladdin's Cave type shop on the first floor, how do you get to that shop on the first floor? Do you go down into the cellar?
Nope.
No, no, indeed. I mean, why would you want to do that? Why would you want to do that? If you want the goodies in the lovely shop on the first floor.
That's the question. Why would you go down?
Yeah,
Why do
right.
we you talk about the trauma cult. Why do we have this trauma cult, and what is it?
This is this bizarre idea. Well, the trauma cult is basically a fairy tale, and it goes something like this. Talking of fairy tales earlier too, weren't we?
Mhm.
It's a fairy tale. It is that whatever is wrong with you now is because you were traumatized as a child. And there's one big trauma, and if that big trauma can be found and somehow alleviated, your life, you will be living in paradise. Your life will transform completely. Everybody will love you. You will no longer be afraid, and you will be living in heaven on earth. Now go and find the trauma. And this is a fairy tale. It's an absolute fairy tale.
Mhm.
You can be in therapy for what's the record for being in therapy? Is it 74 years?
I
Something like that.
that sounds like a long time.
It does, doesn't it?
Mhm.
And most people aren't in therapy that long. They sort of stop at some point. But if this was really true, if psychotherapy or psychology or any kind of trauma-based therapy would bring about enlightenment, then we would have had a lot more enlightened people in the world by now, wouldn't we?
I think if we did the math, it would probably add up differently.
I think so too. So in the meantime, and in the meantime, and because I'm not a psychologist, I work with the energy body. I'm trying to make the energy body happier.
Mm-hmm.
When I start a course or a training these days, I always start with the words, what is the most important part of you that has received the least amount of attention? And then everybody starts giggling, obviously, like school kids. People are people. And then we say, it's actually your living energy body. The bit of you that has a chance to be immortal. That thing that creates your emotions. And nobody's paying attention to it. And this endless trauma thing is bringing the energy body down. It's driving people crazy. Would it be okay if I showed the modern energy chart?
Yes, please. And for those of you listening, we'll include a link to this so you can look at it while you're listening along.
So, yeah, the modern energy chart, this is not the 10 different people, first of all. This is one person. And the little people on that chart, there's a very happy one at +10 on the one side, one that looks like a robot with a 0 in the middle, and one that's on its knees crying, -8, -9 on the other side. So that's negative emotions to positive emotions, is this
Mhm.
chart. And it depicts a little energy body. It's the state of a little energy body. And this kind of state influences the way we think, how our immune system works, what sort of emotions we have, how intelligent we are, how likely we are to make physical mistakes, errors in typing, in driving, that sort of thing, how lucky we are, how well we can relate to other people. All of these things are influenced by the state of our energy body. When our energy body is happy, plus on the plus side, basically, then life is reasonably easy, gravity is light, colors are bright, and we're thinking proactively, positively. We feel good about ourselves, right?
Mhm.
And then when the energy body gets stressed, first we start questioning ourselves, sort of that's at -3, becoming insecure. Do you like my tie?
Mhm.
Do I look fat in this dress? I don't know what to think. Should I trust this politician? Because we've already lost access to our, inner strength,
Mhm.
our inner self, our positive emotions. We're getting uncertain and unsure. And most population lives in that chronic stress state of -3 to 4, where
Mhm.
they feel that they don't know anything. They need to ask an expert. They can't trust their intuition. They need to always get somebody else's advice and believe what they're being told. This is a natural side effect. So I believe that governments from time immemorial have done their best to keep the population around the -4, so that they look to the leaders for leadership, because that's natural to do. When you're low on energy and you're a bit scared and you don't know what to do, looking to a strong leader to follow. So keeping your population there is, makes it very easy to rule them.
Mhm.
As the stress gets worse, we get into the -5, -6 states, and that's where people become paranoid and really anxious. They can't control their thoughts anymore. They're going all over the place, physically shaking. They can't concentrate. They can't sleep. They can't be awake. That is a deep and dangerous chronic stress state. And if the stress gets even worse for whatever reason, if such a person, a chronically stressed person, gets triggered, then we have this massive explosion at -7, where the person just loses control of their emotions and goes nuts, basically. They might be screaming or shouting or aggressively attacking or just really freaking out. It's a mind. This is often misread for it being a high energy state. I think it's an emergency state. If
Mm.
you were attacked by a lion or something, that throws sort of your last everything you've got for one last roar into the fight to try and get away from the lion. And after that, you get a real drop down as the energy body is completely exhausted into a state of deep depression. And that takes then quite some time to spool back up, at least to -3 or so. It takes a while to do that. And with some people, sadly, after this massive explosion in the energy system, if they've been stressed for too long, there can be permanent damage in the energy system. So this is a sad story. But it is really important to understand that happiness isn't a privilege, it is of the essence. Being on the positive side of the modern energy chart is of the essence if you want to, raise your kids right, be do anything, do anything in life right. Drive your car across the street, think, design systems, help other people, solve crime, be a good politician, whatever you want to do, you need to be energy high. And to keep, if you think of what is being spouted at us in the media all the time and on social media, to frighten us, to make us angry, to stress us, to depress us, to terrify us. The next bird flu is coming. It's just such an attack on the human spirit. It's terrible.
I always think about this in the context of the weather. And I don't know how it is where you are in the UK, but I think the weathermen or the meteorologists are the worst. It's like every storm is a disaster. It's a 10+ warning. We're all going to die. And then it sprinkles and you're like, oh, well, that didn't actually pan out. So I think this is interesting too in the context of research around optimism and how optimists actually can live, up to 10 years or more longer than the average person, just because the perspective and the outlook can impact immunity, creativity, resilience.
Yes,
Your
and not making mistakes, like walking out into the road and getting mown down by a bus. It's really practical stuff as well. Or not saying the wrong thing to somebody and getting shot or punched. It's amazing how much difference it makes when people are just a little bit happier. So my major thing is about how we make people's energy bodies happier. They've been mistreated, neglected. And the thing is this, and I have put up a little diagram here, is when you're thinking about sad things and negative things and traumatic memories in particular, this brings the energy body down instantly. Because the energy body is a natural system. It can't go, I'm not going to be depressed about this. It's just going to go floof. If we start talking about times when we were disrespected or hurt or injured or had been abused or something like that, we are going to depress our energy bodies. We're going to make ourselves like we're on a kiddie's playground slide, slide down the modern energy chart into the negative regions. That is simply a fact. It's a fact. Likewise, if we're thinking about something happy, like the star memories, for example, like a beautiful time. Oh, when I was on the beach with my children when they were young, and beautiful sunny sky and blue skies and fresh wind in my hair, and they were playing together nicely for a change, which was rare enough in those days. It was just a perfect day. Perfect moment on this day. That's it, just a perfect moment. And as I remember this, I'm smiling, I'm tingling, I'm happy. And again, this is cause and effect. It makes the energy body happier when we look up to the stars rather than look down into the grave traumas. And so that's just a fact,
So do you think if we all began to reshift our perspective away from that quest for the key trauma that ruined everything,
Yeah.
and we started looking for where has it all worked out? Where has it been beautiful? Where has there been love? Where has there been connection? Where has there been abundance? If we all began to shift our perspective and explore those regions of our story, what impact would this have on the world?
Well, first of all, it would bring back what we might call the star of hope.
Mm.
Because here's the thing. All we have proven with the trauma thing is that we've had trauma in the past, we have trauma in the present, we'll have trauma in the future.
Mm-hmm.
So when we're looking out into the future, it'll be full of trauma. That's what's happening to the younglings.
Mm-hmm.
Looking out into the future and they're seeing a destroyed planet and, I don't know, crazy people rioting in the streets, the Walking Dead, basically. Something they've been fed from all the computer games they've been playing for the media they've been watching since they were little. The whole end of post-apocalyptic scenarios that are in the movies and TV shows and everywhere else. So that's what they're seeing when they're looking out in the future, and they're obviously terrified and
Mm-hmm.
can see their energy system shriveling,
Mm-hmm.
looking out into the future. Now, if you have done Star Matrix for a little while, this thing about that there have been star events in your life, there have been moments of happiness in your life, absolutely, and without a doubt. Then likewise, and you look into the future, there will have to be more star events in the future.
Mm-hmm.
There cannot not be.
Mm-hmm.
And rather than me telling you this becomes lived experience when you have your own book of stars.
Mm-hmm.
There comes a moment when people go, I can't believe how many there are, how many wonderful moments there are.
Mm-hmm.
I swear to God, I thought my life was just terrible, but it actually did have moments in them.
Mm.
Oh my God. And even if they at that point stop in horror, because they realize that they are about to leave the trauma cult, if they want to or not, even if at that point they stop in horror, the process is in motion. They will remember more star memories, even if they don't write them down in their book of stars, or they try
Mm-hmm.
not to. They will remember more. And there comes a point at which you can't help but understand that human beings are designed to have these star experiences. They have them. They have them in prison. There's even a book about a man who had them in a concentration camp.
Mm-hmm.
They happen in all sorts of weird situations and scenarios. They can be triggered by a light beam falling in through a window
Mm.
and striking a photo frame. It can happen anytime, anywhere, with anyone, without having to find the perfect prince or princess first. They can happen in a relationship and out of a relationship. I remember there was this gentleman and his relationship had broken up and he was very sad and he said couldn't see a future for himself. And I said to him, he was doing Star Matrix at that point, and I said to him, look, I mean, you're going to have more stars. There might not be relationship stars. Perhaps they're different stars. Perhaps because you're not in a relationship, you get into mountain climbing and you've got some star event with the sun setting over a beautiful landscape and the first stars of the night coming up. And you have this moment where the whole world just comes through you and to you, and you see the holiness of it all. You will still have star events,
Mm-hmm.
you know? And that same man on a different timeline could be in a house with 3 screaming children and the wife, and something wonderfully funny or beautiful happens with one of the 3 children, and he has that star event instead.
Mm-hmm.
You're going to have some sort of star event. Might not be the traditional getting married, best marriage day, best day of your life, holding your first child in your arm. Might not be this traditional thing. It might be something else. Who knows? But the point being is that as long as we human beings are alive and we go forward, we will have star events.
I love that. And I love the idea of using those star events as an anchor for shifting and managing our perspective as we move forward. I always tell my children there are 14 million safe airline journeys that happen every year, and yet we focus on the one that crashed. So, Silvia, how can people learn more about you and your work so that they can start writing and building their own star book?
We have a website called starmatrix.org.
Mm-hmm.
And it's got sort of the first chapter of my Star Matrix book with the instruction how you start your own book of stars on it for free, because I think everybody in the world should do that.
And I'll just show you all. I have my copy here.
I've got a copy too. Look at that.
So go get your hands on Silvia's Star Matrix book and get started on building your book of stars as quickly and as joyfully as possible.
I think that I really would. I would put that to your heart.
Mhm.
There's different. What I've done in that book is I've gone through different things to help trigger memories in you, so that you can, there's different kinds of star memories in different contexts, and they're not just about getting married. There are also the star dreams, which
Mhm.
are events when you've had possibly in a meditation, or even if you've done drugs or something and had a huge star event with something.
Mhm.
See, a star is a star. It belongs to you. It doesn't matter how it happened, doesn't matter how it came about. Once it's a star, it's yours. And you don't have to make apologies for it or cues for it. And especially the star dreams are very close to my heart. When you've seen something that isn't getting married, or you've had a breakthrough in your research, like I've had these moments. Some of the absolute best moments in my life have been these huge aha moments when something clicked into place. I was literally doing the eureka, apart from not running down the street naked. So yeah, and the excitement of connecting with those. And when you think about them now, they have messages for here and now that will help you move into the future.
Mhm.
Every one of these star events does. They are so information rich. They are so energy rich. They really are your treasures and riches, and I absolutely love them.
Awesome. Silvia, thank you so much for joining us today. It's been such a pleasure and for me personally, such an honor to spend the time with you. And I look forward to continuing to watch your personal star shine on all of us. Thank you.
Oh, thank you so much. Lots and lots of love to everyone.
My dad is an optimist. At 85 years of age, no one believes he's as old as he is. My dad grew up in the Great Depression. His family literally lived in the poorhouse. Even though eventually the economy improved, my father's family continued to struggle financially for his whole childhood. When other kids got bikes for Christmas, my dad got an orange and a handful of walnuts. I never knew about how poor my dad's family was because the stories he told were rich and abundant. My father's memories of childhood were not stories of bitterness or deprivation, but stories about the magic of his childhood. Evenings spent catching fireflies, fishing barefoot at the creek. The experience of peeling that orange for the first time and smelling the citrus oil from the peel on his hands. He never talks about losing all of his teeth because his family couldn't afford to go to the dentist. He never shared about the times they didn't have enough food when his dad struggled to find work. I'm telling you this because my dad went on to create an unusually successful life, and I have always suspected that my dad's success is deeply rooted in the careful way he curates his personal stories. If focus creates and love heals, then maybe our conditioned approach to defining ourselves as survivors instead of thrivers is actually keeping us stuck in stories of struggle, aloneness, and lack. Is it really bypassing if we are consciously curating a personal narrative rooted in positive memories and future casting a vision of a life that is built on love and focused on solutions rather than problems? Is it really unrealistic to be a dreamer and to build forward with your life with an expectation of success and abundance? I hope today's conversation has given you some powerful things to contemplate and a new perspective on the power of your personal narrative to heal and align you towards a future more worthy of the person you were born to be. For more information about how you can begin to take back control of your personal story, visit freehumandesignchart.com. I'm Dr. Karen Curry Parker. Thank you for joining me for Quantum Revolution.
Thank you for joining us on Quantum Revolution with Karen Curry Parker. For more information on how to change your world and to hear more about our guest today, visit quantumrevolutionpodcast.com. Make sure you follow us on your favorite podcasting platform so you don't miss a single episode of Quantum Revolution. We'll see you next time for some more groundbreaking conversations with Karen and her guests. How will you impact your world today?